Here it is, the Mercedes-AMG GT, the latest entry in the world of sports cars, designed to go head-to-head with the likes of the Porsche 911, Jaguar F-Type, Audi R8, and its bigger brother, the SLS-AMG. Is it any good? Well, I got a helmet, got the keys and the car, plus a track. There's only one way to find out. Okay, here we are out on the track in the AMG GT S. First impressions, I've got to say, it does feel really special. The cabin looks really nice. The main point of contact is this big, chunky, flat-bottomed Alcantara trimmed steering wheel, and it just makes you feel in control straight away. The rest of the cabin is great too. It's kind of all pinned around this big screen in the middle. It's not a touch screen, it's all controlled via this touchpad on the center, a bit like you get on a laptop, or you got the option of a spinning wheel as well. Mercedes' typical command interface. Running down the side of the center console, you got a series of buttons. These basically switch the stereo on and off, let you switch between automatic and manual gearbox modes. You've got your start-stop control and your active exhaust. You can make it louder or quieter depending on what kind of mood you're in. Now, like I said, there are two versions of this car, the GT and the GTS. Both of them use a 4-litre twin turbocharged engine. In the GT, this makes 456 brake horsepower. In the GTS, you get a massive 503 brake horsepower. It's a hell of a thing. So out here on the main straight, I can really test out that 0 to 60 time. 3.8 seconds they reckon in this thing, and it feels every bit as quick as that on paper. It's tremendous. They reckon it'll go to about 193 miles an hour. And I believe that. This thing just feels absolutely epic in a straight line. One of the things about turbo engines is that they tend to rob the engine note. Mercedes makes some of the best naturally aspirated engines in the business, and they sound tremendous. But I gotta tell you, even though this is a twin turbocharged unit, it sounds absolutely epic in its all singing, all dancing mode. It just sounds really, really tremendous. My favorite thing by far about this car, though, I've got to say, is the transmission. It's a twin clutch manual. If you leave it in auto mode, it will just get on with the business for you, no stress whatsoever. It changes up so smoothly, so rapidly, and you can really get on with finding your braking points, hitting your apexes, etc. It's like it's reading your mind. But if you switch it into manual mode, it's just so responsive. It gives you exactly what gear you want, whenever you want it. So I'm piling into a corner right now, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and it gives me that gear. There's no fighting, no arguing. It just lets me get on with it just the way I want it to. In terms of handling, well, I was expecting, because this is a big front engine rear wheel drive car with a shed load of power, that it would be a bit unruly, but it's absolutely not. I'm not saying it's a pussycat, but it's just really, really well balanced. There's no real understeer, no oversteer to speak of, especially in the dry here. Don't get me wrong, it can still be a bit leery when you want it to be, but there's no fighting with it. It seems to be on your side most of the time, unless you get a little bit stupid, in which case, you want to have fun, it's all there to be played with. In terms of handling, well, you get adjustable suspension, multi-link, and there is a tiny bit of body roll. It kind of like leans into the corners, but it's never unsettling. The car just kind of dials in, settles down, and leaves you to get on with trying to find your apex. And speaking of that, I mean, finding apexes in this car is like shooting fish in a barrel. It's so easy. It's one of the easiest cars to drive super fast I've been in a long time. Along this main straight here, I think the top speed I've ever been along here is about 120. I just hit 140, and then on the carbon ceramic brakes, this thing stops as well as it goes. They've done an impressive job with this thing, they really have. It's a hell of a thing. I love it. The AMG GT has so much competition and has so much to live up to, but what they've done is deliver something truly special. Is it fast? Yes. Is it fun? Absolutely. Is it better than a Porsche 911? I don't know. I'm going to need a little bit more time and research to actually come to that decision, but at the moment, I've got to say the AMG GT is up there with my favorite cars right now. It is absolutely stunning, and ultimately, I want one. Well, at least that was the theory. The reality is now I've got the keys in my hand and the car right in front of me. Do I feel the same way? Alpha, take my money. And these... Sorry, Granny.